Betrayal doesn't always come with a warning. Sometimes it hides behind familiar smiles and comforting words. Until one day, the mask slips, and everything you believed in shatters. This is the story of how trust turned to devastation, and how I rose from the wreckage, stronger and more dangerous than they ever imagined. Molly, my wife of 10 years, lay curled up beside me, seemingly fast asleep. As I shifted, my hand brushed against a phone under the covers. But it wasn't mine, it was hers. She must have rolled onto it in her sleep. The screen glowed with a notification, and my curiosity got the better of me. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, baby. Miss you so much." Zoko. My heart lurched, a cold dread seeping into my bones. This wasn't a message from her mother, her sister, or any of her friends. The casual intimacy of the words, the baby, the kisses, made it clear this was something else. An illicit whisper in the dark, meant for someone who wasn't me. My first instinct was to wake her, to confront her right then and there. But something held me back. A strange, chilling calm settled over me instead. I needed to know more. Without thinking, my fingers typed a reply. "Tomorrow. What time should I expect you?" I slipped her phone back onto the nightstand and lay there, my heart pounding against my ribs. Moments later, the phone vibrated again. I felt Molly stir beside me, fumbling for it. The screen illuminated her face in the dim, pre-dawn light. Through slitted eyes, I watched her reaction. Her eyes widened. Her breath hitched. The phone slipped from her hands, clattering onto the hardwood floor. She bolted upright, her face pale and panicked. "Pooh, I," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. I sat up slowly, feigning grogginess. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," she said too quickly, her voice trembling. Just a bad dream." Without another word, she scrambled out of bed, snatched up her phone, and rushed into the bathroom, locking the door behind her. The sound of that lock clicking shut was like a final confirmation. The truth I had been dreading. The late nights at work. The hushed phone calls, the vague excuses. It all made sense now. Molly was cheating on me. I lay there, staring at the ceiling as our life, our home, our future, unraveled in my mind. Minutes passed before the bathroom door finally opened. She emerged pale, trembling, her eyes red-rimmed. She wouldn't meet my gaze. We need to talk," she began, her voice breaking. "I think we do," I replied, my voice cold and steady. "Who is he?" The blood drained from her face. She tried to speak, but no words came. The silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken accusations and shattered trust. Finally, she whispered a name. "David. He's a colleague. David. The new project manager, the charming, charismatic one who always seemed to linger a little too close to Molly at company events." The pieces clicked into place. Over the next agonizing hour, the sordid details spilled out. The stolen glances, the late-night dinners disguised as work meetings, the clandestine weekend getaways. With every word, the knife twisted deeper. She cried. She begged for forgiveness, swore it meant nothing. But her pleas fell on deaf ears. The damage was done. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. The rage simmering inside me was too intense for that. "Pack your things," I said quietly, "and go." By morning she was gone, a ghost fleeing the scene of her crime. And I was left alone, in the wreckage of our marriage. The silence of the empty house was deafening. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But when your entire life shatters because of betrayal, the coldness becomes a part of you. At first I stayed quiet, drowning in the hollow emptiness they left behind. But Behind that calm facade, a plan was forming, one they'd never see coming. I wouldn't let them walk away after destroying everything I held dear. They had to pay. And when I made my first move, it was subtle. An anonymous tip to HR, exposing their forbidden affair. The fallout was swift and brutal. Jobs were lost, homes broken, perfect lives shattered. But for me, it wasn't enough. I needed more. I needed to see the fear in his eyes. The fear of a man who knew his lies had finally caught up to him. When I tracked him down at a dimly lit bar, his misery was already palpable. But it was nothing compared to what I had in store. And, as I stood before him, watching the guilt and terror creep across his face, I knew one thing for sure. They'd underestimated me. And that was their biggest mistake. Trust is fragile, and sometimes the people closest to you wear the most convincing masks. If you want more stories like this, full of emotion, twists, and lessons, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories to life. See you in the next one.